we're seeing these year over year gains across the board. And it's the narrative that people are being told is not the data and the reality that we're seeing. And those members that are doing what it takes to operate toward the top, we've got some amazing conversations coming up on my Friday episodes. When you join us on our Friday episode instead of our Wednesday, which is our Experts Corner, talking about a lot of these members that were in that saying that same thing. And then we say, okay, let's make these adjustments. Let's do what it takes to succeed. Like, I'm not going to give you the pass of saying that's just the market. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to tell you, nope, you're doing everything you need to do. It's real easy for me to say that and just write it out. You're going to be fine. Long term, it's a better investment, because that's what they come to me and say. Hey, listen, I got the tax savings. It's excuse me, it's still paying for itself, and it's still an okay investment. And how easy would it be for me to say, yeah, write it out. Things are going to change. Things are going to get better. And instead I say, no, you're wrong. They're wrong. Don't give yourself that excuse to say it's okay to be mediocre. And we're seeing this in the numbers all the time. And these the second quarter numbers just came out, and we're seeing these year over year gains that look, really, really promising. And so you've got to do what it takes to go get your unfair share of that business, because the consumer's saying, it's there. Here's my money. Go take it. But if you're not going to do what it takes to get their money, they're going to go somewhere else, go to the person that is going to give them reason to take their money. And so, Josh, you're seeing a lot of these numbers as well. It's almost across the board in these markets. And it's, you talk to a lot of our members as well, inside of our group on the coaching side, and you hear that same narrative. And it's really it's really important for us to make sure that we tell them, hey, you got to look in the mirror and do some of those harder things that other people are not willing to do to put yourself in a position. And we see every single day the results of that. And so we get pretty convicted on what it takes to succeed in this game. Doesn't mean it's easy, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But when it comes to the actual numbers that are out there and the revenue that's out there and the performance that some people are experiencing, it's exciting to say, hey, listen, I can go in and get my unfair share of that business, because most people, frankly, are not willing to do it. And they're willing to buy into that narrative that it's okay to just be mediocre. And that gives us this, like, you can walk into the top 10% of almost any market right now.
Yeah. Think about, and I'll frame it up. We are in what's being, termed a K-shaped economy, right? If you're above a certain level, you're seeing trajectory, and the further above that level you are, the more wild that trajectory is. The more you're in the middle, you're seeing stagnation or lowering, right? What a lot of PMs see is this, and we can see this, we can use AirDNA, right? We can pull up by pricing tier. We can see year over year in these markets that are a healthy market is the consumers continuing to spend more, right? There's more money being spent in the market. We're seeing that the luxury and upscale are massively rocketing further and further away. And we're seeing that the RevPAR, the revenue per available rental, is going down as more properties come online, even though more money is being spent. And for those that are in the middle or on the bottom side, they're getting squeezed. And yes, if you're in the 50th percentile, and like, I made less money than last year, you probably did. But if you're above that number, you're having some wild times, and it's nice up here at the top, right? But also, we talk about this a good bit for the management side, and it's really important that people understand this, regardless of what their rates are, regardless of how many properties they run. If you have a top 1% property and you have a 50th percentile manager, guess where that property operates at the 50th percentile, because you're going to rise or fall to the level of who's delivering that guest experience, period. A good management partner can lift a lower property, but it cannot work the other way around. I'd say that a lot of times, because we see people that sign with the cheapest guy, or that, oh, he was really nice, or we didn't want to lose the previous listings. It had 50 reviews, right? You can get that in a year. Right. But how much are you losing being in that squeeze portion? I want to know, is my manager who's running my property, what properties they run and where are they operating out of that market? Because if those properties are in the middle of the market, that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah, 100%. Management is not something during that setup phase. That is the management phase, right? Setup and management. That's the phase we're talking about. And you're exactly right. A good manager can lift a mediocre property to a certain point. A mediocre property manager or a bad property manager will absolutely tank a really good property, right? And so it's not, you will not have a great property that you invested in. You did everything we talk about on the setup. We do everything that you needed to do as an investor to put yourself in a position to succeed. You picked the wrong delivery mechanism, which is your property manager. It's a massive problem. We're dealing with it right now. And this is a property manager we've worked with. This is a property manager. I'm not naming names, but this is a property manager that we expect a lot more from. We have a top property. We're going through our white glove. We go in, we show up, and it's horrible. It's not cleaned ready for us. We're like, what is going on? Sometimes you got to check those property managers, even the ones that come highly recommended or did have a good reputation. Sometimes maybe they just missed, but it's something that we look at very, very closely. And I was just, right before we hit record, I told Josh, Jude, pull it. If we have to pull it. I don't care. They manage some of my properties, and they manage a lot of our members' properties that operate at a very high level. So this is either a one-time miss and we fix it. But if we're starting to get complacent and we're starting to let things slide, we're out, right? Because I know that I cannot perform at a high level with a mediocre property manager, and they start getting complacent and they start getting to the point where they're not going to do what it takes to make sure that the delivery is at a very, very high level, then we'll cut bait instantly. I mean, it's not even something, because I know that my performance is going to cost me a ton of money. As an investor, I always tell people, it's not my property manager's job to be this amazing marketer. It's not my property manager's job to go take a mediocre property and outperform the market. Properties are going to perform exactly how I set them up to perform as an investor. But I'm going to spend a lot of money on these properties. I'm going to spend a lot of money buying them. I'm going to spend a lot of money on furnishing them, setting them up, making sure I've got the right amenities. Sometimes we do full-on landscaping, resort-style backyards. That's a lot of capital that we are putting into these properties to perform at a high level. That property manager's job is to take that great asset that we just invested a ton in and making sure that that guest has an amazing experience of the delivery. It's got to be absolutely sparkling clean. They've got to communicate at a high level. They've got to make sure that the guest has all the essentials in there. And if something goes wrong, they're on it instantly, right? And so that delivery has to be at a high level. If that delivery starts to slip, we are out and we're instantly trying to find somebody else, right? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, an add-on to that from the design perspective is I meet with people all the time, and we're going through exactly what we're going to do with a property, especially when we're going into a market, which is kind of rare these days, where we haven't done a property before, okay? And used to be, when we were going into more markets where we were never before, the property managers would be very resistant to the level of design and execution that we were coming in with. And I would have clients tell me all the time, oh, the property manager doesn't want throw pillows on the bed. Property manager doesn't want to put that blanket, that throw blanket. The property manager doesn't want to have those plants. Property manager doesn't want, and I'm like, man, you've got the wrong property manager, because all of these things that we're designing to do are going to make you have extraordinary photographs. But if your property manager is okay with having extraordinary photographs and then hiding all of that stuff because they want to maintain it, that should be a red flag that you've got the wrong property manager. If your property manager is pushing back to you on all the ways that you're trying to differentiate yourself in the market, that should be a red flag to you. What I've learned about property managers, especially the big conglomeration firms, is that they try to operate their properties like a hotel business. When you think of a hotel, all the rooms are effectively designed the same. Why? So that if I walk into one room and someone was just in there smoking their brains out and I'm allergic to cigarette smoke and I booked a non-smoking room and I get in my room and I go, oh, this is horrible. And I go down to the front desk and say, I walked into my room, it smelled like smoke. They go, no problem. We've got another identical room just like this right down the hall that you can go to. You'll never know you're missing out on anything because they're all the same. I have found that property managers, especially when they're managing lots of properties, it's almost like it happens accidentally, but they try to get all their properties so much the same that if they have a problem with one, they can pivot to another, or they can say, oh, that one's booked, but I've got this one. It's almost the same. No problem. When you're in that kind of situation, you're back to competing, right? I'm looking for property managers that don't want to compete. I'm looking for property managers that want to dominate, the ones that take the way that we set a house up and go, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And by the way, those same property managers who used to wonder, oh, this is too much, this is too much. The moment we finished it, they're asking for our phone number going, how can we do this with all the rest of our properties? But if they're not Vodyssey members, they don't understand the return they're going to get to it. So their homeowners don't even want to invest in it because they don't know what they don't know. So the property management is everything. Your review currency is everything. And I tell people all the time, I can get you there, but the property manager takes you across the finish line.
It's so true. We talk about it all the time. And I have a saying that I say it's the Achilles heel of short-term rental investing is property management, because it is so critical. I can do so many things as an investor unless I am managing my own property. I have to hand that delivery off to somebody else. And one, it's my largest expense. Two, it is make or break on my property, so that relationship is either worth their weight in gold or it's an absolute nightmare. And it takes that property to either, hey, listen, this is going to perform the way it's supposed to, but you're right, Mike. If they can't get it to the finish line, man, we have to pivot really, really quick.